सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we will continue from where we left off. In the last class, we saw that the second section, mantra number 14, Anyatra Dharma, Anyatra Adharma. So Nachiketas had asked the question, tell me about that which has these particular characteristics. And what were they? Anyatra Dharma, Anyatra Adharma, which is different from both Dharma and Adharma. And Asmat Krita Kritat is different from Kritaha and Akritaha, from the cause as well as the product, and which is different from Bhuta Bhavyatcha, from the past and the future. So that, what is it that you consider as conforming to these three conditions? You tell me. Okay. Then it is now Yamraj Uvacha. So we will chant mantra number 15. Please unmute yourself. सर्वे वेदा यत् पदमामनन्ति
सर्वे वेदा यत् मामनन्ति
कपांसि सर्वाणि च यद्वदन्ति
तपांसि सर्वाणि च यद्वदन्ति
विच्छन्त्रो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति
विच्छन्त ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति
तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण ब्रवीम्योमित्येतत्
तत्ते पदसंग्रहेण प्रदीम्योऽस्मित्.
So those who are in touch with the Gita will recognize the last line. Where do we see it?
तत्पदं तत्ते पदं
Te padam sangrahena bravimi om ityetat. Anyway, I shall leave you to rack your memories. So here this is Yamaha Uvacha, that is Yamraj Uvacha. The Lord Yamraj is replying to Nachiketaha. And he says, Bravimi Sangrahena. Bravimi, I shall tell you, Sangrahena, very briefly. What shall I tell you? Te Tat Padam. Te Tat Padam. That Te means to you. So you have to, that Te has to be part of Bravimi Te Sangrahena. I shall tell you briefly. Tat Padam, that destination, that goal. Yat Padam, which goal? So this is Tat Padam Yat Padam. That goal, which goal is Sarve Vedaha Amananti, which is described by all the Vedas. And Yat Vadanti, for which, for the achievement of which goal, Yat Vadanti, all the Vedas, they prescribe, they lay down Sarvani Tapamsi, all the sadhanas, all the austerities, and Icchanti Yat, and desiring which goal. So Padam has to be fixed here. Icchanti Yat Padam, and desiring which goal, Charanti, everybody practices Brahmacharya. Charanti Brahmacharyam, all the sadhakas, they practice Brahmacharya. What is that goal? Etad, that goal, Om Iti. That goal is Om Iti. So this is a description or a discussion on the Omkara mantra. And this we have seen in Bhagavad Gita. Does at least anybody know the chapter, if not the verse?
chapter 10.
I will leave it open. When you find it, just put it in the group and we'll see. So in these three mantras, this mantra, the next mantra, and the 17th mantra. Yamaraj is introducing the most sacred of all mantras, Omkaraha. And when we study Taittiriya Upanishad, you will see that that particular Upanishad, it gives more details, more glories about what is Omkara. What is so great about Omkara? Why is Omkara glorified in all the Vedas and by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita? Because Omkara can be used as a japa, right? Even by a Mandha Adhikari, by somebody who has not really even come to Shravanam, at least for japa, Omkara can be used by even a Mandha Adhikari. Now, there is a interesting aspect of Omkara. Omkara is said to create very, very acute vairagyam, tivra vairagyam. And therefore it is said that if you are a grahastha or a brahmachari who may have desires to become a grahastha at a later state, then you shouldn't chant nirguna omkara. What is the difference between nirguna omkara and saguna omkara?
We can add the name of a Ishta Devata.
Yeah. So when you add the name of a Ishtadevata, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namah Shivaya, that is Saguna Omkara. You are adding the Saguna Nama to the Omkara to dilute. The idea is it is to dilute the effect of creation of dispassion. However, for a sannyasi, it is said pure Omkara is necessary because pure Omkara will create very, very powerful Vairagyam. And since sannyasi has no wife and no children and no family, this is a good way of Omkara chant for him, pure Omkara. And that's why for Grahasthas you will find that wherever in a mantra japa, a Grahastha asks for a mantra and he wants Omkara, the Omkara is always diluted with Saguna Nama Rupa. Okay, that is only by the way. So here, here Shankara uses two sets of words while talking about it in his Bhashyam. So he says Om Shabdavachyam. This Shabdavachyam, Shabda is the word Om. Om Shabdaha is Vachyam, is the Nirguna Brahman, which can be used for Nirguna enquiry. And that we will see when we come to Mandukya Upanishad, far away, right? Then Om Shabda Pratikam Cha. So two things he says. Om Shabda Vachyam and Om Shabda Pratikam. Shabda Vachyam means that Om can be used as a symbol to inquire into Brahman. And Om Shabda Pratikam. Pratikam is a symbol. So you can use that symbol of Om for Saguna Brahma Upasana. Right? And whenever you say Upasana, remember there is no inquiry. There is no Jnanam there. So Pratikam Shabda Om. You are using the Om Shabda. You can use it either as a sound symbol or the written Om which we see we can use for the Upasana purpose of what? On Saguna Brahma. Therefore, the speciality of Omkara is it can serve as a symbol for Upasana, for meditation. This is for the Madhyama Adhikari. Omkara can be used for japa, we said, for even a Mandha Adhikari. Mandha Adhikaris will do what? Only karma. Japa is a karma, it's a karma. While if you are a Madhyama Adhikari, you have to add Upasana. Therefore, Madhyama Adhikari uses Omkara as a symbol for Upasana. When you say Upasana, the Omkara is the Alambanam, right? You can actually, when you say Alambanam, you have to invoke some form of Ishtadevata onto that Alambanam. Not necessarily Ishtadevata. Normally, in the beginning of the Mandhadikari level, you will invoke your own Ishtadevata, Vishnu, Shiva, Krishna, Narayana, whatever, right? But from the Gita, we saw that the progression is always from Karma Yoga to Upasana Yoga. And in terms of the meditation, you have the Ekarupa Ishvara, then you have Vishwarupa Ishvara, then only you come to Nirguna Ishvara. So in the beginning of your meditation as Madhyama Adhikari, you may want to use your Ishtadeva. But later on, the same Omkara can be used as the Alambanam, as the substratum for what? For invoking Vishwarupa Ishvara also. So whether you invoke your Ishtadevata or whether you invoke Vishwarupa Ishvara, remember this Omkara is the Alambanam for Saguna Ishvara Dhyanam. Ishtadevata is also Saguna Ishvara. Vishwarupa is also Saguna Ishvara. So that is the second level. So you have Omkara Japa for the Madhyama Adhikari, Omkara Japa for the Mandha Adhikari, Omkara Upasana for the Madhyama Adhikari, and Omkara Enquiry for the Uttama Adhikari. Omkara Vichara, right? Vichara is the enquiry. And by this enquiry itself, you should be able to come to Nirguna Brahma. This is the background of in what all ways Omkara can be used, how Omkara is relevant for the Mandhadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. So you're all long-term students. So into which category will you fall? If you have
Hopefully,
doubts, sorry,
hopefully Uttamadhikari.
hopefully Uttamadhikari, right? You should not have any doubts about that. But if you have doubts, you yourself have doubts, then there is a real problem, right? Okay, so Yamraj says, Tatte Padam Sangrahena Bravimi. I shall tell you about that Padam, about that Atma, Tat. What is the Tat Padam? Tat refers to the entire 14th mantra, where he asked about what is this which is Anyatra Dharmat, Anyatra Adharmat, etc. Right? And Bravimi, I shall tell you in the most brief manner. And what is that brief manner? Om iti. It is a one syllabled word, Om. So here Yamraj is saying that Omkara is the word. And the entity referred to by that word is what? Atma or Brahman. And where all is this Omkara mentioned? Sarve Veda Yat Padam Amananti. All the Vedas, Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, Jnana Kanda, they all talk about this particular Veda, Sarve Veda, right? So it is a Tatparyam, the essential topic of all the Vedas. And that Amananti it talks about. And Tapam Sarvani Chayadvadanti. All the tapas prescribed in the scriptures are for what? For acquiring in inverted commas, this particular Atma. Remember that Karma Kanda also talks about another product as a result of karma and upasana. That is Chitta Shuddhi. But there are explicit results also mentioned in the Veda as the result of karma and upasana. Explicit results are there. Like going to Brahma Loka, for example, is a result of upasana. And therefore, knowing all these various results, because you have studied the Veda, the Karma Kanda, Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti. So Brahmachari is the name of the Shishya, the Vedic student. And Brahmacharyam, Charam means walking on, or you can take that as a lifestyle. So Brahmacharyam is a lifestyle of the student. Therefore, the one whose lifestyle is devoted to the study of the Veda, he is a brahmachari. This is the primary meaning of brahmachari. We take it as a person who is not married, but primary meaning is the person who walks on the path of Brahman. Brahma acharam, acharati. He walks on the path of Brahman. And therefore, these studies are meant for what? Yat ichanti. People who are desiring that Atma alone. They are the people who study the Veda. Hey Nachiketas, you have desired to know that Atma, and therefore I shall tell you more about it. Because you desire to know, that is the important idea. You are desiring to know the Atma, and therefore you are a qualified student. Okay. Then we look at mantra number 16. We will chant. Please unmute yourself. Etadhyevaksharam Brahma
एतद्धेवाक्षरं ब्रह्म
Etadhyevaksharam Param
एतद्धेवाक्षरं
एतदेवाक्षरं
परम्
Etadhyevaksharam Gyatva
एतद्धेवाक्षरं ज्ञात्वा
Yo Yad Ichhati Tasya Tat.
यो
यो
यत्
यदिच्छति तस्य तत्
Okay, so if you look at this, the first word, you have to break it up carefully. Etat aksharam eva. So that they has to be broken by hi aksharam eva. And he is also there. So etat hi aksharam eva. That is the breakup of etadheva aksharam. Etat hi aksharam eva. This aksharam, this om aksharam alone, hi om alone, Brahma is indeed Brahman. Then etad aksharam eva hi param. Same breakup. Etad aksharam eva hi param. So here you will see the how you extract the contextual meaning. So both mean this Omkara is Brahman. So in one he says etad hi aksharam eva Brahma. This aksharam alone. Aksharam here means Omkara, the alphabet. This aksharam alone is Brahma. And in the next one he says this aksharam alone is Param, is supreme. How will you extract the meaning of this? You're all now senior students.
Is he referring to both the Saguna and the Nirguna aspect?
Very good. So
Yeah.
because of the fact that the second part says Param, it means this Brahman alone is the higher Brahman. And the first part means this Brahman alone is the lower Brahman. Okay. Then again, etad hi eva aksharam gyatva, having understood this particular Omkara, yo ichhati, yaha ichhati, yat tat yaha ichhati, tasya hi apyudat bhavati. Whatever one is desiring, one becomes that. Okay, a little complex wording. Let us try to explain. I'll just mute you all. Okay, so in these verses now, Yamaraj is talking about how we can use this Omkara, right? Etad eva aksharam hi Brahma. This Omkara alone is a symbol of aparam Brahma, because in the second quarter he has used param Brahma, param. In the first quarter he has used Brahma. In the second quarter he used param. So you have to rewrite that as etad hi eva aksharam aparam Brahma and etad hi eva aksharam param Brahma, right? Therefore, this Omkara itself is aparam Brahma, is a symbol, alambanam for aparam Brahma. What is aparam Brahma? Saguna Ishvara with various attributes. Whenever you talk about Saguna Ishvara, is it Upasana or Jnanam?
Upasana.
Sana.
So the first quarter means this Omkara Alambanam can be used for Upasana also. The second quarter is etadhi aksharam eva param brahma. The same omkara can be used for omkara vichara, which is for jnanam alone. Right. So what is this? Om is the param brahma, the nirguna brahman to be inquired into. And therefore, this Om becomes a Vachakam. Vachakam means that which reveals. What does Omkara reveal? Omkara is the Vachakam for Brahman. Is the word which reveals Brahman. How does Omkara reveal Brahman? We have a prakriya called Adhyaropa Apavada, superimposition and negation. And this is what is dealt with exclusively in the Mandukya Upanishad. So when we come to that, we'll see. And therefore, here what is being said is that as a sadhaka, you can choose to follow upasana or vichara. Saguna upasana you can follow, or nirguna omkara vichara you can follow. Yet ichhati, whatever you desire, tasya tat, that you will get. So remember that saguna upasana can be practiced for two things. One is for kamya purposes, for worldly benefits. What is the other one for?
Then Kamopasana.
Brahmamukti.
Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka.
Kramamukti.
Yeah.
Brahmaloka,
Brahmamukti.
Brahmamukti. Right. So there are two reasons for practicing Saguna Upasana. One which is done by most people is for fulfillment of desires. So Kamya Karma, worldly benefits are obtained through Saguna Ishvara Upasana. And Saguna Ishvara Upasana without Kama, Nishkama Saguna Upasana will take you to Brahmaloka, which will give you Kramamukti. Right. So, and Shankara adds here, aparam chet praptavyam. If your objective is the acquisition of Brahmaloka and then Kramamukti, praptavyam, you must do all the rituals and the upasanas. So, if the seeker wants Saguna Brahma Phalam, what the objective here is that Shankara is saying that karma alone is not sufficient. It has to be followed with all the right mantras, all the right rituals, and the upasana has to be practiced even at the time of your death. Where do you find that?
Chapter 8,
Chapter
where
8,
he speaks
Gita,
from.
right? Where he says that even at the time of the death, you have to practice the upasana. While Shankara adds, aparam chet praptavyam, if you want to get to Brahmaloka and enjoy Brahmaloka or get Kramamukti, you have to practice karma plus upasana. Param chet gyatavyam, he says. But if you want Nirguna Brahman, Jivan Mukti, there is no need to go into karma and upasana. You have to practice or you have to attain knowledge, acquire knowledge. Shankara's comments expand the understanding of these mantras. Now we'll go to mantra number 17. So please unmute yourself. We will chant. Etad alambanam shreshtam.
Etad alambanam shreshtam.
Etad alambanam param.
Etad alambanam param.
Etad alambanam gyatva.
Etad alambanam gyatva.
Brahmaloke mahiyate.
Brahmaloke mahiyate.
So, if you look at the words, etad, this alambanam shreshtham. This omkara is the best symbol, is the best alambanam. And etad alambanam param. This omkara is also the symbol for the higher Brahman. You can add over there and lower Brahman also. And etad alambanam jnatva. So here jnatva is not having known, jnatva is having done upasana upon, having meditated upon. Why is that so? Because we are talking about upasana over here. So, etat alambanam gyatva, having meditated upon this Omkara symbol, what happens? Brahma loke mahiyate. Mahiyate means one becomes worthy of worship or one becomes adored. Where? In Brahma loka. Okay. So, Yamraj is pointing out that Omkara is the most Shreshtaha, the greatest symbol for Brahman, because any other symbol can only represent Saguna Ishvara. Omkara alone is a symbol which represents Nirguna Omkara and Nirguna Ishvara or Nirguna Brahman. And not only that, Omkara can represent not only Nirguna Brahman, Omkara also represents Saguna Brahman. Therefore, its advantage is that any other symbol in this universe will represent Saguna Brahman only, Saguna Ishvara only. Omkara represents both Saguna and Nirguna. And that is why we said in the beginning, Omkara can be used as a tool for mantra, mantra japa, as a tool for Saguna Upasana, and as a tool for Vicharam also. And therefore he says, Etad Aksharam Alambanam Ishreshtaha. This is the greatest symbol that you can have. And Etat Alambanam Param, it represents the Nirguna Brahman. And you have to add here Aparam also, because we said that earlier. So this is the greatest symbol because it represents both Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman. And Etat Alambanam Gyatva, by properly meditating upon this Alambanam, right? Now, when you say Jnatva, again, if you look at the commentary will say that you have to, Shankara will say that you have to read this Jnatva twice. Remember, Jnatva is there only once in the mantra. But Shankara says you have to read the Jnatva twice. Why do you have to read the Jnatva twice? Let us see if you are following the arguments.
Once for Saguna and once for Nirguna.
Excellent. So, Etad Alambanam Gyatva means Saguna Brahma Upasana. And what is the result? You will go to Brahma Loka and you will get Krama Mukti. And Etad Alambanam Gyatva, this time it is inquiry. And there, with that inquiry, you will get Brahma Jnanam and you get Krama Mukti. So by Upasana, he goes to Brahma Loka. By Jnanam, he goes to Nirguna Brahma. What is the gist? The Omkara is a very, very powerful mantra capable of addressing the needs of Mandadikari, Madhyamadikari, and Uttamadikari. Therefore, it is the greatest mantra. Etad alambanam gyatva brahma loke mahiyate. So, knowing this alambanam, one goes to Brahma loka. And Shankara says Brahma loka itself will have two meanings. One is Krama Mukti, which is based on Upasana, and one is what is called Sadhyo Mukti, which is Jivan Mukti, which is based upon Jnana. And then Brahma Bhutaha. Shankara adds in his commentary, Brahma Bhutaha. Brahma Bhutaha means becoming, merging with Brahman. So again, let us understand there is no merger because you are already Brahman. It is just dropping the notion that I am not Brahman. And what happens after that? Mahiyate. Mahiyate means since Brahman is an object of worship and you have merged with Brahman, everybody now who worships Brahman is also worshipping you. Therefore, you have become the object of worship. This is the meaning of this particular verse. And therefore, here it is saying basically that the Upasaka becomes the Upasyam. The worshipper becomes the worshipped by literally this glorifying this particular sadhana of Omkara sadhana. And therefore, you have to divide Brahman into two, depending upon your sadhana. For the understanding of this particular verse, if you are doing Upasana, You merged with Saguna Brahma and you are worshipped by all the people, including the seekers of Karma Mukti. And since it is Brahma Loka, Brahma Loka, he says, having reached Brahma Loka, you have become one with Brahman, Saguna Brahman. And because you are worshipping, right? And therefore, you are worshipped by all the Karma Mukti seekers, because they all worship Hiranyagarbha. However, if you use Brahman in the context of Jnanam, then you have become one with Nirguna Brahman, and you are worshipped by all the seekers, including Nirguna Brahma Upasakas. With this, the glorification and all is over. With the next verse, the actual teaching will begin. So, first chapter, second section, 18th verse is the actual beginning of the teaching. So, before that, any questions? Fine. So, I take it for granted that you understood. All right.
Acharya, you just
yes,
said
please.
the last few sentences you mentioned, two Brahmans. That part I didn't get. I didn't follow that. Can you just repeat?
Remember here that you can be using Omkara for Upasana and you can be
Yes.
using Omkara for Vichara. Therefore, there are two Brahmans.
Then
Upasana, when you use, it is Saguna Brahman. Vichara,
Brahman.
when you use, it is Nirguna Brahman.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it's not two Brahmans, so two aspects.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
is Saguna,
yeah.
one is Nirguna.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now we look at the 18th verse where the actually begins. And you'll find many of these familiar because they've been all used in the Gita. So we will chant mantra number 18. न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चिद्
न
न
जायते
जायते म्रियते वा कश्चिद्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न हन्यते
Okay. You remember this mantra, right? Or this verse rather.
Yes.
Second
Where did it come? Second
Second.
chapter. But this is not exact. Some differences are there.
Yeah.
First, let us just read the verse. Ayam vipaschit, this omniscient one, na jayate, is not born, vamriyate, or dies, na jayate, namriyate, is not born and does not die, na babhuvaha kutaschita, does not originate from anything, and na kaschitaha, it does not become anything. So it does not originate from anything, it does not become anything. And why is that so? I am this Atma, Ajaha, birthless, Nityaha, deathless, Shashvataha is without any decay, Puranaha does not grow old. The actual meaning can be old, but does not grow old. And Nahanyate is not afflicted, Sharira Mane, Sharire Hanyamane is not, Nahanyate is not killed when the body is killed. Sharira Hanyamane. So this is the literal translation. And you can see that this slight modification is there in the mantra which is there in chapter 2. What is the slight modification?
Vipaschit. न
Okay.
जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित्.
Yeah. Vipassita has nothing to do with Kadachita. Okay. Vipassita is just means omniscient one.
Yeah.
But you are right. Kadachita is the difference. What is it here?
Here it's Vachita, there it's Kadachita. There it was Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah.
Yeah. So here is Kutaschita. Remember, it is Kutaschita, there is Kadachita. And therefore, Now you know where Krishna has borrowed from. Remember that this is all, the Shruti is always original. Upanishad is always the original. And Gita is Smriti, which came later. And Krishna himself says it there, that I have taught before and now I am teaching again, right? So in this para, in this particular mantra, what is the question that Yamaraja is answering?
The one Nachiketa asked
Ask.
about.
He asked about the Atma Jnanam.
He didn't ask for Atma Dhyanam.
No, the verse
What
he
is that
asked
which is beyond dharma, which is beyond all of this? So that is the
beyond it.
question.
Yeah, but his basic question was, what is there anything which survives the death of the body? That was the basic question. And this is the answer. So from here, for the next, I think 6-7 verses, Yamraj talks about many things. The nature of the Atma Swarupam, the Jnanam, Atma Swarupa Jnanam he talks about. Then the sadhana, the Atma Swarupa Jnana sadhana he talks about, and the phalam. So, Atma Swarupa Jnana phalam. So, 4 topics: Atma Swarupa, Swarupa, Atma Swarupa Jnanam, Atma Swarupa Jnana sadhanam, that is the sadhana necessary, and Atma Swarupa Jnana phalam. Now, Atma Swarupam has 5 features. What are they? Let us see if you remember.
I'm not a part product or property of the body. I am that invisible entity which pervades and enlivens the body.
Okay.
I'm not bound by spatial. I have no spatial boundaries or time-wise boundaries. I survive the death of the physical body, but I need the physical body for
Yeah.
Let them meet you.
You are not bound by the spatial and physical boundaries of the body. Then, what is the 4th one?
Survive.
Survive the death of the body.
The body dies, I do not die, I survive. And what is the 5th one?
I need a physical body for to manifest, to be.
I
As a
cannot be
reflecting medium.
recognized in the absence of the reflecting medium. Okay. So these 5 are the is the nature of the consciousness, the 5 features. And in all these mantras, if you're wondering where did we get those 5 features from, when we talk about Gita, you will find that in these mantras, these 5 features are defined. So all these are extractions from all the things we said in Bhagavad Gita are extractions from these mantras. So, what is the first feature? Najayate, mriyate, va vipaschita. Vipaschita is basically another name for the Atma. Visheshena pashyan iti vipaschita. Visheshena here is not to mean special. Visheshena in a special manner. Visheshena pashyan, that which witnesses in a special manner. Right? Now, why do we say it? It's a very interesting, analysis, and that's why I'm going through it. Normally, we'll just say vipaschita means Atma and accept it. But why does vipaschita mean Atma? Vipaschita means that which sees in a special manner. Visheshena pashyan, that which sees in a special manner. Now, normally the word pashyan, it is a verb, right? And
Yes. See.
verb means what?
Action.
Karma.
Action. Action. Therefore, normally a karta will be changing. You cannot be a karta without doing without some change coming in. But you cannot talk about Atma changing, right? Because we said Atma is nirvikara. There is no change which takes place in the Atma. And therefore, Visheshena Pashyan means that which is seeing, but is itself not changing. So, Atma sees what? You have to remember Drik, Drishya, Viveka. What is the first level? Atma witnesses what?
First level is the world and the
No, that is
senses.
the lowest. Sorry, that's the lowest level. But
From
we are
the
talking
higher,
first level from the Atma side.
Atma is observing the mind.
Exactly.
Mind.
So Atma witnesses the mind.
Hmm.
The mind changes, but the Atma does not change. So that Sakshi which reveals the mind, which makes the mind sentient without itself undergoing any change. That is why Visheshena Pashya. That Sakshi, that Atma reveals the mind, but that Sakshi itself is Nirvikaraha. It doesn't undergo any change. So Atma, remember, witnesses the mind. Through the mind, and the mind witnesses the sense organs witnesses the world, and therefore when sense organs are of course part of the body, and therefore you can say body, therefore the body means subtle body. So Atma, because of blessing the mind and making it sentient, and therefore making the mind capable of enlivening the sense organs witnessing the world, therefore you experience the world only because of Atma. Therefore I, the Atma, am indirectly the experience of the world. And how do I experience? Visheshena. I don't undergo any change. Right? How do we explain that with a worldly example? Because when I say witness or see, it normally means there is an action. How can you use a worldly example to show that something happens but no action is being done? So, Mananam questions, very important. We will understand all this.
I think sunlight has been used in this example. Sun sees everything but doesn't undergo the change himself.
Okay, can you reword that to make it more compact? You got the right
Sun's,
idea.
sun's light falls everywhere. It is reflected.
Yes, correct.
And it also causes actions and changes, but without itself changing.
Yeah, so you can use sunlight and you can say that when you say sun comes up, or correctly speaking, when the world is rotating and daylight comes, what happens? Sunlight doesn't do anything, but we say that the sun is revealing the world, right? Sun is not doing anything. The world is simply being revealed because that is the nature of the sun. Whatever comes within the range of light is revealed. Similarly, heat. If you go close to a fire, you will feel hot. Fire is not doing anything. You might even get burnt and you will say fire burnt me. But that's not true. It is the nature of fire to burn. And therefore, your going close to it is the reason why it got burnt. And similarly, that is one important thing, revealing. So now another important thing is in terms of the Atma, one more important thing is that when Atma comes in contact with an appropriate reflecting medium, that Atma lends consciousness. Right. So when Atma comes in contact with subtle body, Atma is not actually lending anything. The subtle body becomes conscious because that is the nature of the Atma, that whatever appropriate medium comes into contact with Atma, the appropriate medium will become sentient. What do you mean by appropriate medium? A medium which has the uh, capacity to become conscious by coming into touch with Atma. It's something like saying that the mirror has shown my image. The mirror has not done anything. Mirror is there, and just by coming in front of the mirror, the image has come. Similarly, I lend consciousness, and therefore this Chaitanyam is one which specially sees, experiences, and lends consciousness. Okay, that's a very important way of understanding Atma. Na jayate. the next word. Najayate means is never born. Right? Mukaschit babhuva. And that's very important. A very, very technical idea. Nakaschit babhuva, it does not become something else. What is the idea of saying that when milk becomes curds, is there a change in the original milk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And na kaschit babhuva means this Atma can never change. It can never become anything else because of the nirvikara aspect. It can never change. Right? Remember, therefore, that whenever you say something is uh, being born from something else, it is the original going away and the new coming into being. For example, you say caterpillar becomes butterfly. When the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, the caterpillar is gone and the butterfly is born. Right? There is a change. And Atma can never do that. So he says, Na babhuva kaschita. That Atma will never become something else. And this Atma is ajaha, birthless, nityaha, deathless, eternal, shashvataha. Shashvataha means, this is technical definition, apaksha rahitaha, without decay. Okay, so nityaha, shashvataha. And then ayam atma kutaschita na babhuvaha. This Atma did not come from any other karana. Okay. Now, if you look at that statement, you can analyze it. There are three possibilities. Atma could have been born from itself. It could have been born from another Atma, or it can be born from Anatma. There are three possibilities of, if you say Atma is born, the three possibilities are what? Atma was born from another Atma, or Atma was born from itself, or Atma was born from Anatma. How do we argue? Atma can never be born from itself. Right? That is clear. Logically impossible for something to be born out of itself. Then it cannot be born from another Atma. Why?
Then it will go into infinite regression. We will not know where, what
No.
is.
That is if you presume. But we say, scripture says that Atma Ekaha. And therefore it cannot be born from another Atma because there is no other Atma. And it cannot be born out of Anatma. Why?
Anatma is mithya.
Anatma depends on Atma.
Depends on Atma.
And Anatma is Jara.
Atma is Jada. From a Jada entity, a conscious entity cannot be born. Why so? If Anatma is Karanam and Atma is Karyam, we have to remember the old story about the characteristics of the Karanam are always found in the Karyam. What are the characteristics of the Karanam Anatma? Jadatvam, inertness. Therefore, if Anatma gives birth to Atma, Atma will also be inert. Therefore, Atma is not a product. Okay. Right. So that's what it means here. Anta and Shankara writes, Arthantara bhutaha na bhavuvaha did not originate at all from any other product. And therefore Atma is not a karanam. Therefore we come back to our famous quote, Karya, Karana, Vilakshana, Chaitanyam. That consciousness principle, which is not the product and which is not the cause also. Right. Now, Puranaha means, here the technical definition is Vriddhi Rahitaha, free of growing, free of old age. Na hanyate hanyamane shariraha. Right? So here, very peculiarly, what is the normal meaning of Hanyate.
That can be killed.
Kill.
Hanyate means that which is killed. Okay, that's correct. Because we saw that in Bhagavad Gita. But here, peculiarly, Shankara in his commentary, he says, na hanyate should be taken as na hinsyate. Hinsyam means to wound, to hurt. And therefore, Shankara says, in this mantra, you should take na hanyate as that which cannot be wounded, which is not the Vachyartham. The Vachyartham is very simple, killed. Na hanyate means cannot be killed. Why does Shankara take this meaning?
Because then it will be durakti, because then you are saying it dies or it doesn't die, which has already been said before.
No, can you explain
Acharya,
that?
I missed the point. Can you please repeat what you said?
I am saying that in this particular mantra, the last portion, na hanyate. Na hanyate, hanyamane sharire. The normal meaning is that Atma does not die when the body is killed. But
Yes.
Shankara says, don't take it as hanyate, take it as hinsyate. The Atma does not get hurt when the body is hurt. Why does he take this meaning?
In the first pada, the mantra already says, na jayate mriyate.
Very
So
good.
means mriyate means dies. And if you say die, it can also mean be killed and then die. So then it becomes durakti. So that's why he is using
Yeah.
another
So it is
explanation
punarukti
for
doshaha. The repetition doshaha will be there. If you take hanyate as die, he is already saying mriyate. The mriyate is there already. And therefore Shankara says, don't do that. Say it doesn't get what they call hurt or wounded. And therefore, remember getting wounded is a change. And in terms of the Shadvikara, what does change mean? What is the term used in Shadvikara?
Vikara. No, I didn't.
Viparinamate.
Viparinamate, right?
Viparinamate.
So here, the Viparinamate has to be derived from Nahanyate. I'm trying to connect this to the 6 Shadvikaras. They're all coming from here only. Okay. Any questions?
Acharya, the word Shashwata and Nitya actually should mean the same. But here they are being used, given different definitions.
Shashwata, normally, even in Gita, I think we use the word called the meaning as old. No, Shashwata is eternal. But what
Yeah.
did we use it here as?
Shashwata means doesn't have decay.
Yes. Doesn't have decay. So there's a particular meaning being used over here because Nitya is already there in the meanings.
Yeah.
You can use it as Shashwatam also, as eternal also, because what doesn't change at all is eternal. So you will find a certain amount of repetitions. And because we want to avoid the punarikti, dosha charge, we try to give it as logical meanings as possible.
And Acharyaji, Purano can be ever existent.
Puranam literally means that which is old. But if you remember Gita, we said Puranam means that which is old, but still fresh. That is the meaning we use there. And that is the meaning which is coming in here. Vriddhi rahitaha, that which has not changed at all, not grown old. So Vriddhi is one of those Shadvikaras. So these particular interpretations we are trying to give because we are trying to connect how we have got Shadvikara idea comes from here itself.
So Acharyaji, can it be synonymous with Sanatan also? That also we say it never goes old and is always new and always ever exists.
Sanatana also means the one which has always been there. These are not exclusive words. Many words represent the same ideas. Anybody else? So we don't have enough time to start the next mantra and complete it. So with this, we should stop unless there are questions.
Acharyaji, why did Krishna want to change a few words from the Shruti?
You know, they say that if you are explaining a text and if you are using the words of a teacher, then you have not really understood.
Okay.
Acharya
You
ji,
should be able to explain in your own words. Don't you remember school? Write in your own words. You're not expected to just repeat what the text said. If you do that, you actually get less marks.
Right.
Using your own words means you have understood, assimilated, and are capable of reproducing without having recourse to those ideas, to those words at least.
And
Yes, Kush, you
Acharya,
were saying something?
could it also be to simplify, like instead of Kashchit is a more to simplify for the common people to understand? Is it could be that reason also?
Every explanation that you give is basically it's all contained in the original word. You're just trying to expand so that people understand easily.
Om Acharya ji.
Yeah, Kush.
Acharya ji, I was going through the recordings of Mundaka Upanishad. There we have used the 5 characteristics of Atma also for existence principle. So,
Yes, of course.
could you please brief me once about it? Like,
It is the same. When you are saying that consciousness is not a product of the body, you're also saying that existence is not a part of the body. Why? Because Atma lends the existence.
so body is just Namarupa, but existence itself is the Upadana Karma.
Upadana Karana was not existence. Upadana Karana was Maya.
Okay. So existence is different from the substratum?
Existence means the very fact that it exists.
The isness.
The isness of it. That is lent by. That's the thing to understand properly. What is meant when you say Atma lends existence? Whatever exists, it's only because of Atma. Existence is easier to understand because everything we see exists, right?
Yes.
But everything we see is not conscious. You know consciousness only in one place. What is that?
Myself.
In yourself, your own mind. You only know, you can truthfully only say, I am conscious. When I say Kush Dingra is conscious, I don't know. It's an inference. It's an
Ji.
anumanam.
So that means for existence, we don't mean the matter. We
You
don't
don't
mean
mean-
the material.
The material is the Namarupa. That's how you ascertain that this thing exists. But you can talk about things without matter. When you are happy, that happiness emotion, is it existing?
Yes.
So there is no necessity for matter. It's a
Okay.
thought. And thought, of course, we say is the subtlest form of matter that is there.
Okay. I
You have to
think
learn to replace matter and thought and all with the word Prakriti. Then it will be easier.
So
Ji.
manifestation is the result of Atma enlivening things.
Manifestation is the result of the existence being led.
Right.
And for that when manifestation to be understood or to be seen, consciousness is necessary. So really speaking, you can never really separate these two. That is why we say Sateva Chit, Chideva Sat. Sat and Chit cannot be separated.
Thank you, Acharya. I'll
Thank
do
you.
Manana once and
Thank you.
I'll come back if there's any more questions. Thank you.
Om Sat
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Mevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you,
Om
Thank you.
Om.